Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So today I have an interview with James Maher, who is a media producer, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the projects he's been on, most recently the Grassroots Rider Academy. He was in charge of the media production on that side. We talk about other projects he's worked with, what it's like working in that kind of environment and pushing yourself forward to do the things that you enjoy. So I think you're going to enjoy this one, and if anyone has any interest in this kind of field, it'll be very informative for you. But I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So today I am joined by James Maher. I'm told he's not a videographer. He runs a media production company, and I'm going to actually let him explain what that actually means. So welcome to the podcast, James. How are you?
Oh, good. Thanks for having me on. I run a media production company. So essentially I produce media, anything from short form advertising reels and photos up to most recently a series for a certain company that both of us seem to be involved in.
Yeah, don't worry, this has been mentioned on the podcast. We do know about the Grassroots Rider Academy. So this is the man behind the media team, I suppose.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, he seems to be doing a pretty good job of running it while we were down there.
Honestly, like that was a massive baptism fire. I'd run media teams for events, just various shoots in general, but nothing to that scale. Like 4 days of running a four-person team. Well, three people that I brought, and then we just kind of drafted one of the grassroots girls, Carly. Yeah, holy, like it was absolutely insane. Like there was so much that we had prepared and so much that we couldn't prepare for, and everything it went way better than anyone could have expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was that kind of baptism by fire for everyone. It was just like, in a sense, at times it felt like pure chaos, but it all came together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like my God, I can't tell you the amount of meetings that we sat in where we went through the schedule, the master schedule, the micro master schedule, and then that all went out the window about a half an hour on day one.
Oh, and even the way things were like, this is what this is, this is what this is, and you're finding out like 4 days before filming, no, that's not what they meant by that.
God, yeah. It's like, guys, I got some questions here.
Yeah.
But no, look, honestly, everything went fantastically. Like the team, the like Aiden, Isaac, Kate, Carly, everyone was just God went above and beyond, and I from my side of things, it couldn't have gone better.
Yeah. No, I agree. These things were minor things in the grand scheme of things. But suppose this has been your biggest project to date, but take us back. What got you initially into media production?
Oh my God, you're talking. So back in 2016, I started working in a shop here in Tralee called Royal Menswear. It was a suit shop, so we sold like your Tommy Hilfiger, Hugo Boss, those kind of things. And I got running their Facebook page, and I got kind of sick of taking pictures with my phone. So I bought a camera off this photographer that used to come into the shop quite a bit, Joe Hanley. And yeah, one thing led to another, and God, I started making videos then back in I want to say 2017. Yeah, 2017. Then in like 2018, I started just showing up to places like there was the Clarny 4th of July, the Tralee Food Festival, there was Dublin Comic Con. There was a couple of things that I just sort of showed up to and made videos for. And like 2019, I had enough to make a highlight reel. So like all the bits and pieces that I'd shot. And then like it came to about halfway through 2019, and like the people that I made videos for, like the events that I made videos for in the previous year, they
Yeah.
wanted to hire me back, or they wanted to hire me back to actually make the videos this year. And I'm like, holy crap, I can make money from this. What? And then yeah, like July 1st, 2019 was my official first day as unemployed.
Well, self-employed.
being honest, that didn't happen more for a while, but no, like, but yeah, like, first day being self-employed. So yeah.
That's mad. Like, what was it like getting those calls for people coming on to you and saying, "Hey, can you actually do this and we'll pay you?"
Oh, I was like, what? I had zero people skills back then. I couldn't talk to anyone and was just like, wait a minute, you want to give me money that for something that I can just go do? What?
I suppose
And yeah, just one thing then just led to another, led to another, led to another.
yeah, you kind of say yourself like, you it's just something you can do, but maybe like you're not thinking about the fact the amount of time you've put in learning to do that.
I don't think about it, but I do reflect on it every now and then. Like, God, going back 2015, 16, 17, like when I first got into cameras, first got into taking photos, there'd be me up at like 6 o'clock in the morning editing photos, editing videos, then going to work at like half 8-ish and coming back home and sitting at the computer, then again, just learning more and not even registering that this may well be the rest of my life.
Yeah. And you're self-taught with all this, aren't you?
Yeah, YouTube videos and figuring things out and like, self-taught. I wouldn't say so. Like a lot of people have taught me different things, but just at different stages. Like I ended up getting like a contract with RTE to make 10 video segments for the Today Show back when the whole COVID lockdown thing first started off. And there was a friend of mine who both taught me how to do it as well as lent me equipment to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just ended up doing that.
Yeah, I suppose when I say self-taught, I mean like you weren't like say formally educated, I think.
Oh
And
no, there's no like formal education. Like I did buy one of those online courses, but I only ended up doing like maybe 20-30% of it. And I'm just like, oh Christ, I don't have time to sit down and do this. I've got things to do.
things I can actually do.
Mm.
That's yeah, no, it's interesting because I think it's good to highlight that as well because so many people would maybe write themselves off from even trying because they've never gone to college or done a course on how to do it. So the fact that someone like yourself who hasn't gone and got a formal education is now like producing a series.
I know that. But like that's the thing I see with a lot of people is they have a fear of doing something. Like if you want to go do something, don't talk about it, don't think about it. Just go do it and figure it out along the way.
That's exactly the best way to do it. Is that what you did when you got asked to do the Rider Academy?
Oh God, yeah. The first call was changed to Shane. I've no idea what I'm doing, and he's like, "Yeah, that's grand. Like none of us do, but like, I'll figure it out."
I think that was a nice little safety net for all of us. I don't think any of us knew what we were doing.
And look, we did it.
Yeah. By the way, this we're not really selling it. It's going to be great. I've seen some of the footage already. It's already
Oh,
class.
it all
But
looks fantastic. Like all the interviews, all the B-roll, it looks amazing, and it's going to be absolutely incredible to actually put it all together.
yeah, I am looking forward to seeing that. But I do not envy you having to do that job.
It's grand. It's time sitting at the computer. It's about it.
I know that's such an Irish response. It's grand.
That's about it.
So what would you say are some like maybe misconceptions that you find when it comes to what you do and production of media? Like, what do misconceptions do people have?
People's first impressions of me when I say that. I mean, I wear ripped jeans that are not ripped on purpose. They're just ripped from skateboard incidents and longboard incidents. And like, I'm always seen in a gray t-shirt and usually a beanie. And it's just like, huh, this guy runs a media production company. So it's like, oh, so you make videos for like, you know, shops in town, that kind of thing. And then I'll start talking about the various clients that I've had. Like I work for the likes of the City Education Group up in Dublin. There was Cara Sport Inclusion Ireland back then. I've done stuff for RTE, various government agencies like the likes of Falta Ireland and it's Athletics Ireland. I did a lot of work with Untashka over the last couple of years. As I said, I've shot stuff for RTE and now been the producer for a series. Like, so people, they look at me and then they don't take me seriously, and then I start talking and then they do take me seriously, and that's just so entertaining for me, and I don't know why.
It's funny because personally, when I first saw you, I was like, yeah, he looks like he does that.
Yeah, nice. Look at me
Yeah,
changing.
it's that kind of artsy look or whatever. Maybe not intentionally artsy, but I was like, yeah, you look like someone who does that kind of stuff.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. And do they like do you find people understand the amount of work behind what you do?
Some do and some don't. Like it depends on the kind of clients that I have. Like I'd have clients who've never done any bit of media production for their business, and then they'd be asking me, "Oh, we can just show up and shoot this, and it's an afternoon kind of thing." And then like 3 days later, and we're still trying to get the script right, and they're like, "Wow, we actually had no idea how much goes into this." Or I'll work with a bigger client then, so like a large company that has a marketing department
Mm.
they'll be just on the ball working. They'll just know exactly the questions to ask, exactly what we need to do. They'll already know what they need to get sorted. It's no project you can compare. Like you can't really compare one project to another because every project's different.
Mm. And do you prefer working with like the smaller productions or the bigger productions?
Honestly, I prefer anything that's a new experience or a new adventure more so than anything. Like it doesn't matter if it's a small company, if it's something cool, then yeah, absolutely, I'm excited to be on board. But if it's let's take a large company, they just want me to shoot like corporate headshot videos, that wouldn't interest me that much.
Yeah.
Like I'll still do it and I'll still do a very good job because I've got the lights and I've got the microphones and like we'll set the setup nice and make everything look cool. But take the likes of I'm brought around to do the photos of the likes of the Kerry Ultra, the Waterville Trail Running Festival. I've been brought over to France to shoot the Varverdon Canyon event. I covered Quest Loch Durgad's one of the photographers there the start of September as well. And like I love doing things like that because it gets me outside, it gets me into nature, it gets me in just cool adventures to do. And like I live on the roof of my Jeep in a roof tent from a client of mine. Like anything like that, just that gets me excited. It doesn't matter how big or small the client is, as long as the work is exciting and it's if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I kind of feel the same and stuff like. And the other thing as well is I wasn't trying to like put down anyone who doesn't say smaller clients because sometimes they can learn so much as well while doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And what is it like being behind the camera and seeing everything like unfold like as you're doing it?
It's not something that I can pay attention to as it's happening because I'm trying to focus on making sure that the camera settings are right, making sure that the tripod's in the right place. If I have multiple cameras, making sure that they're all in the right place, looking at the right thing. And like it's weird to think about, but I don't get to enjoy what I'm shooting as I'm shooting it. But then I get to sit down and look at it in detail when I'm sitting down on my computer there for a couple of hours editing something together.
Yeah. Do you ever find it difficult to decide what you're going to keep and what you're going to get rid of?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Like any project that I have, there's 30% of the footage shot is used. The rest is just thrown away, but it's finding that right 30%.
Yeah, I don't think most people realize it's that little that gets used.
Oh yeah, like take a wedding for example. Like I don't shoot weddings, but I have shot weddings. I'll end up with in and around 8 9 hours worth of footage. And what I make is after movies for weddings, but they'll only be like 10 15 minutes long max. Or take an event, for example, like the Clarny 4th of July. I come out of there with anywhere from 8 to 9 hours of footage as well, and that's a 3 minute video after that. But there's a couple of thousand clips mixed in.
Mm. That's the depth of that. Like it's interesting because like not only do you have to like go through that 8 or 9 hours of footage, then you then have to figure out what you're actually using.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then you have to put it together in a coherent story. You have to make sure that like how do I even explain that?
Have you a system for doing it, or is it kind of very much a case by case basis?
Oh, it's definitely a case by case basis, but like a lot of my work over the last year or so has been more corporate versus the event side of things. So it's me take an interesting project that I worked on last year was the Unquil Viog project with Leaf Ireland. This was funded by Untashka, but what Leaf Ireland do is they go around to schools, community areas, colleges, that kind of thing, and they plant little woodlands of about 200 trees, and they plant them in like a way that they can be used as like outdoor classrooms, wellness areas. It's really cool. Like the Educate Together school in Limerick, they have a pizza oven right next to their forest, and they have pizza days out there, and it's just so cool. But like, I love nature, I love trees, I love being in the forest, and like that's home for me. So being able to work with them for God, like 6 months last year was it was amazing.
And
And
it,
like, we got to interview, what did we do? We interviewed we interviewed 9 people over the course of like 6 months. And it was taking the 30-40 seconds out of each interview that pieced together into a coherent story for the full piece. Like that's I love doing that because it's like taking apart a jigsaw puzzle and then putting it back together into a smaller jigsaw puzzle.
yeah, that's a cool way of putting it actually. And you like as well, like you do interview as well from behind the camera a lot as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, I didn't. Most of the videos that I do, it tends to be me behind the camera interviewing.
What's it like doing it from that position? Like, would you want to do it in front of the camera or do you prefer
Oh,
being from behind?
you see, I whenever I'm interviewing somebody, by the second minute of the conversation, the cameras are forgotten about, the microphones are forgotten about, and it's a conversation between myself and who that person is. And something that I learned years ago is that people don't really know how to tell their own story. So it's entertaining to me to pull it out of them, to get ask them certain questions, to ask them questions in certain ways, to get the answers that I want, so that I can put together a story.
Yeah.
Like, for not so, like, I love stories. I love hearing people's stories. I love telling people stories. I think it's how do I think about this? Yeah, like, I love telling stories. That's pretty much the bottom line of it. I just love telling stories.
And when you're doing those interviews, do you like, would you know what narrative you're looking for when you're asking them? Or do you kind of
Again,
see
it depends on project to project.
Hmm.
So like, I got to work with Cara Sport Inclusion Ireland a lot last year. They're now Active Disability Ireland. But I got to interview Martin Conway, who's a senator in Ireland, but he's 84% blind and every day goes for a 5 kilometer run and a swim in the ocean, unassisted on backcountry roads.
Oh wow.
Like, that was such an interesting story. And I just got to sit there and talk to him for about an hour and a half and then put together about a 10-minute video just showcasing an inspirational story from him.
Mm.
But then there's other pieces like, take the barber Tralee and Listowel. I got to interview Aoife and Joe for, again, the better part of a half an hour each, but that was a different kind of interview. I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about their business and the story behind their business. It's a different form of narrative.
Yeah, I get you, yeah. So with these kind of the jobs, do you find that you are getting people are coming to you or you go out and apply for all these?
Oh, people come to me at this point. Like, I yeah, most of my business is word of mouth. Like, I put in for I get asked to put in for tender for a couple of projects with the likes of the Kerry County Council, or yeah, various people who have applied to the likes of the trading online voucher for from the, I think it's the Leo, I think, do that.
Yeah.
Um, but most of the people like, most of the business that I get are people have recommended me from other jobs, or people have found me and just said, "So, are you interested in having a conversation?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to see, like, I suppose the importance of word of mouth as well.
Yeah, yeah. Like, word of mouth would be my biggest asset. Like, I wouldn't do much actual advertising in general.
Yeah. And do you ever find, say, when you are like discussing a job with people and like you talk about pricing with them, did they ever do you get any pushback with that or
Not really. Like, not anymore. I used to, I suppose, but then once I started moving into the bigger clients, like, they're the people that have approached me for the work that I've done previously. Like, my pricing shouldn't even come into play in that regard. Like, they Yeah, I wouldn't really anymore. Like I don't really put in quotes anymore. I don't really get pushback. As I said, I used to. I just don't really anymore.
Yeah. How do you handle that when people try to like, I suppose in a way, maybe haggle you down?
To be honest about it, Christy, they don't.
Yeah. That's good though. Like that shows, because I've found, sometimes people be a bit like that with me and I'm like, well, that's a surprise. Bye.
Yeah, that's good. But like as I said, people come to me because they know that I can solve the problem that they have.
Yeah.
And like my pricing, it's not ridiculous. Like I'd still be relatively competitively priced with a lot of other people that are around that are doing something similar.
Yeah, I get you. Um, so I'm gonna bring you back to the Rider Academy because it is like the biggest project you've undertook.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What kind of things like did you have to do like in the build up to the academy? Like, um, was it like obviously there was meetings and stuff like that, but for your own self and setting up your side of it, what was involved for you?
Oh, well, first of all, there was just trying to figure out exactly how many people that we needed. I ended up hiring on um Aidan Fitzgerald from Dingle, Isaac Burke from it's not yeah, it's
Kilkenny.
Kilkenny. I keep thinking Kildare. Kildare and Kate Anderson from Sligo. I'd met them all on other jobs before, except Isaac, but I've known Isaac for God a good couple of years now.
Mm,
Um, Outside of that, then there was just an unmerciful amount of planning. So I kind of had to know what this series was going to look like before we shot it, so I could put plans in place to shoot it properly.
mm.
Um, yeah, just my God, outside of them, there's also a good bit of equipment to go getting too. So like I needed new microphones, I needed more SD cards, batteries, tripods, those kind of things, like waterproof covers, all this kind of stuff, just so that I made sure that everyone was prepared.
Yeah. And what was it like then being the head of a team as opposed to just like a videographer who comes in as part of the team or a media production person who comes in as part of the team?
I was actually just thinking about this earlier, and like you get the right people and you put them in the right positions and you don't have to worry about them. And that's exactly what I did. Like Aiden and Isaac knew exactly what they were doing, knew exactly how to do it, and even like came in with their own ideas and how to do it better. And I just let them run with it. So like your best bet when being the leader of a team or is just to get the right people on the team and then you don't have to worry.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What was it
Like
like as well working with horses?
I grew up with horses, so it's grand.
Yeah. I'm
Like
sure
it
you
was
were
it
with
wasn't a
Packer
bother
all the
for me.
time.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a bother to me. Like, but it was funny. The lads were a bit nervous at the start, I imagine, but like, no, everyone's fit in well.
One thing I noticed about them when they were going around like and filming stuff was obviously they were more focused on getting the footage than the horses, but they moved really well around them. Obviously, Kate obviously knows horses as well, but just even the lads, like, no, not going right up into their face and just like
Oh
getting
yeah, like
shots. But
we had safety briefings beforehand, and like just to make sure that nobody did anything. Like I didn't think anyone was going to do anything stupid, but just in case, and like yeah, everyone just kept their head on straight.
yeah, no, it was just I just thought it was really interesting to see that. Like I know we had talked about it as well, but just seeing how well they moved around them as well. Like obviously it helps to not make sudden movements when you're filming, but it's always a good idea around horses too.
Oh yeah, you see, I can tell you our priority was on keeping the camera steady.
Oh yeah. It just helped with horses.
Yeah, it just helped.
What was the hardest thing about that project?
Probably the planning leading up to it. Like there was so much to think about that I didn't know we needed to think about until it's just somebody mentioned something offhand. It's like, oh crap, yeah, we should probably think about that and come up with a plan for it. And like you're literally thinking through every single aspect of what was planned, what could happen, what could be thrown in, what could go wrong, and just putting in contingencies around all of that was probably the hardest part of it. Like once we actually showed up on set, the training took over, but like the habits took over. We treated that like any other production, and we set our stuff up and we did our jobs.
Yeah, it did. So once you're in it, like, isn't it? After all the planning, once you're in it, you just go.
Yeah, yeah. There's only so much planning you can do, and like having the know-how to when to abandon the plan is more important than the planning in the first place. Because like you're trying to stick to something that's clearly not working, it's just not going to work. But you
Yeah.
see it's not working and you abandon it early on and you improvise around until you get something that does work, everything goes well.
Is that something you find happens often in your line of work?
Oh god, yeah. The three stages to any good plan are step one, make a plan, step two, stick to the plan, and step three is throw away the plan and improvise about 80% of everything.
Yeah. I think that's like an interesting thing because, when it comes to like media production, you can have all these great ideas, but it doesn't necessarily work and you have to be ready to adapt, don't you?
Yeah, like was Mike Tyson had a great plan. Everybody's or a great line. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and that's exactly what happened to us.
Yeah, not just the face. No, I always say this in jest because it was intense, but it was great at the same time. And like, I'm
Yeah,
just like,
like now, one of the big things that I was briefing the guys on is that there's only so much that we can actually plan for. Realistically, will everything go A, B, C like we planned? No, it won't. So we need to be like liquid and fill the cracks.
yeah. So another thing as well, I suppose, is you are now a producer.
Right.
And how old are you?
You're at 26, I suppose.
Yeah. So I think the reason I'm asking you that is not because you're so well, I suppose you are young, you're gonna be younger than me, but for anyone who thinks maybe they shouldn't be trying to do these things just because they're a certain age, I think that's a really good thing to highlight.
Yeah, so when one of my first jobs, it wasn't even a paid job, it was just somebody asked me if I'd be interested in doing something. A client of mine, Sean Clifford, he's an ultra runner and runs a lot of sort of retreats and camps out in the south of France at the moment, but he's heavily involved in the likes of the Kerry Ultra and ultra runs and adventure races around Ireland in general. He was doing this thing called an Everest challenge where he wanted to run up and down Carrantoul, up and down Carrantoul until he reached the height of Everest. So Carrantoul is like 8,086 meters or something like that.
Mm.
Everest is like 8,800 something.
Oh wow.
So he had to run up and down Carrantoul basically eight and a half, nine times
Wow.
to do it properly. And the plan for me was to go on Caher Mountain, go up, come down, go home, come back to Caher Mountain, go back up. And I just turned to him and said, she said, I'd love to just camp on the mountain and make my life so much easier. And he just turned to me and said, sure, why don't you? And I didn't register this when he said it, but I registered it like it sort of resonated with me over the next couple of years. It's like if I think of something that I want to do, I can just go do it and nobody can stop me. And it was that it's just, yeah, if you have an idea and you want to do something, just go do it. Like
Yeah.
don't wait and be sitting on the same idea in 3 years' time. Go do it now, and in 3 years' time, your idea will be happening. It won't just be an idea anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And so is that the way you followed everything since?
Yeah, pretty much. If I have an idea or I have an adventure that I want to go on or somebody pitches something, it's just like, right, why are we talking about it? Let's go do it.
Yeah.
Anything from as small as going from a short hike to producing a TV show.
Yeah. So now that you are a producer as well, what is next for James Maher Media?
This is where my favorite piece of advice comes in. I don't plan for anything more than like 6 months in the future because if I'm planning for more than 6 months in the future, I'm not really planning on what's happening at the moment. So we're like it's the usual question, what happening in the future? More of this, I suppose. Like I know season two is planned for next year. That's going to be cool. um I know that outside of this I'm just going to get other projects, other clients, other adventures. So I don't plan adventures, I just go on the ones that come up.
Yeah. And are you gonna like kind of stick to the way you have been going it, like no matter how big or small, just pick it if it interests you?
Pretty much, yeah, it's kind of suited me so far.
Yeah. Will you be in the case now that will you be turning projects down?
Oh yeah, no, I do turn projects down.
Do you ever feel like you should be taking them on, or do you just like in putting more pressure on yourself, or are you just like, no, that's not for me?
I did that last year. Like last year, I finished up with 86 projects finished by the end of the year.
A lot.
That is a lot of projects. And like I burnt myself out. I ran myself into the ground. There was a lot of personal stuff going on as well. And I just decided at the start of this year that I'm not going to do it. So by this time last year, I think I had like 47, 48 projects finished. By at the moment, I've got like 22 more, 27. But I got about half the projects finished as I did last year.
And is that anything to do with the massive behemoth of a project you took on?
Yes and no. I started saying no to a lot of the smaller projects so that I'd have the freedom to take on the bigger projects, and things just happened to line up.
Yeah. What is it
Mm,
like saying no? Do you know what I mean?
It used to be scary. It used to be like, oh crap, what am I going to do? But now I don't even think about it anymore. If I don't have time for something or something's not interesting to me, I just say no and I recommend somebody else.
Oh, that's good. It's good that you're giving a recommendation as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Suppose you're doing what other people did for you.
Yeah, 100%. Like people recommended me for jobs, so I'm absolutely going to recommend somebody else for jobs.
Yeah, I think that's a really good mentality as well, because you know the way some people as well can be almost afraid to do that because they're
Oh,
afraid.
there's a lot of toxicity and a lot of hostility in the world in general. And being honest, I just have no interest in being another one of them.
That's yeah, no, that's a really good way to be honest, because it's true, you don't need any more of it. And what advice do you have for people who are like interested in coming into this? Like what should they start with, or is there anything that you think like you wish you'd known when you first started?
I mean, there's the always don't give up, but like if you want to start making videos, just go do it. Take a camera. My first video that I made, the very first video I made, was me making a pancake in my kitchen. That is the very first video I made ever.
I hope you still have
And I think I do somewhere. I know it's somewhere, but I know somebody else has it because they sent it to me.
that.
But like, just go do it. Go outside, film something. Go show up to an event, film that. Bring a tent to a beach and film that. Just do something. Doesn't matter what equipment you have. It doesn't matter what you're shooting on. It doesn't matter what's going on. If you just want to film something, go do it. You'll make mistakes. You'll learn from them. You'll learn a lot more by making 5 mistakes than you will by having one success.
That's so true. And how do you deal with people like, who say to you like, "Oh, I could never do that." What is your response to people like that?
Hmm. Realistically, it's why you won't.
Yeah.
Like if somebody has the mentality that they can't do something, they're shooting themselves in the foot before they even try.
Yeah.
Like anyone can do anything. We're all bottomless pits of potential. It just is a matter of if you're going to use that potential or if you're going to squander it.
If you could change anything about the last couple of years, what would it be?
I don't think I would. All of the high points kept me going, and all of the low points turned me into who I am.
No, that's a really good answer. Like it is.
Yeah, I don't think I'd change anything over the last couple of years. Like obviously, I don't think so.
If it's some of the things you're saying that the low points, you learn from those things as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So it's
Like
not.
the low points in your life are your defining moments. You can either let them define you or let them shape you. No, that's terrible. I guess there's one line that I heard. It's like people can build your ego up and people can blow you up and bubble you up to this, but you can't forge a bubble. Confidence is something that needs to be forged. And Confidence is forged through scar tissue, through trauma, through going through something that you didn't think you were going to make it out of. And then you make it out of that and you're a better person because of it.
I agree with you on that one.
So, like, what would I change about the last couple of years? Nothing, because those moments that, to be honest, I just wanted to drive my Jeep off of a cliff, they're the moments that turned me into who I am. And I wouldn't sacrifice any of that.
And I think that's the best way of looking at those things as well. Like I don't disagree with you. Like, it's easy enough. You could have turned those moments into woe is me. I can't
Yeah,
do anything. It's this
I
fault.
hate that woe is me mentality. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Like, if something happens, there is a period of time that you need to recover. I call it sitting in your shit. You got to sit in your shit for a while, but eventually you got to start climbing again.
Yeah. No, that's like there is too a lot of people who just prefer to sit in the shit and get the sympathy, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because it's nice when people tell you everything's bad and you're okay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like what I mean is, there's a lot of people like it's easier for them to go, oh, I can't do this because of this, and goes, oh, God love you, it's fine. It's a lot
yeah,
harder
yeah.
to turn yourself around and go, no, I'm not going to let that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I find a lot of people rely too much on motivation. Like, I see people there, like, even take something as light as going to the gym. Like, I don't go to the gym, but it's because I don't want to, not because I'm not motivated to. Or, well, like, people say, oh, I'd love the motivation to do this. I'd love the motivation to do that. And it's like, why are you waiting and relying on something that's constantly fleeting? Like, motivation comes and goes, it's not there to stay. So if you rely on motivation as your only driving force, then you're not driving anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's something I get a lot with the gym stuff. They're like, why are you so motivated? Because I train on my own. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't know how you do that. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's not motivation, it's
no.
discipline.
Yeah, I've been doing it for years. And on top of that, like it helps my mental health. So why wouldn't I do it? Yeah, there's days I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. I don't
Yeah,
have to do it, but
absolutely.
it's like I do it for a reason. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So if I was relying on motivation, I would not have trained for years.
Yeah,
Um,
geez, if I rely on motivation, I wouldn't have finished 86 projects last year.
yeah.
Like, geez, there was days I was getting up that I didn't want to look at a computer, let alone sit at it for 12 hours.
But you knew you had to do it.
Exactly. I knew I had to do it because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, exactly. And these things all feed in. Like, if I didn't train all the time, I wouldn't be able to do a pull up. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just like being really strong. Like for me, it's something that I enjoy doing. Um,
Power lifting cross country jumps, is it?
yeah. Everyone going, no.
Oh, so funny.
Oh, I love
But like,
doing.
even back when I used to be getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and editing, people would be asking me, say, "Oh, why am I doing that? Like, I couldn't. What would you be doing? Would you not just spend the extra couple hours in bed?" And it's just like, why? Like,
If you spend the extra couple hours in bed, you don't get the work done. You don't get the work done. You don't get paid as well, and you don't.
oh, this
And
was even
then,
before I was getting paid. This is when I was learning. This is when I was still working in the shop.
I suppose even that. Then it's like you get up, you're learning. Like it's something to get up for.
Yeah, exactly. It's something to get up for.
Like yeah, it's nice staying in bed, but
But I live on a like solid principle too that if you want to do something, the time to do it isn't when you come home from work, when your brain is wrecked from work. Like, the first thing that anyone says when they get home from work is like, "Oh, I'm just dead after today." That you don't want to do anything. You don't have the brain capacity to do anything. So the time to do it is 2 hours in the morning before you go to work. You'll get a
mm,
lot more done. I'd get a lot more done if I sit at my computer at 6 o'clock in the morning and stay in my computer until 12 o'clock in the day versus if I sit down at 10 and stay till 6
yeah, I
or
get
even
that.
later.
I'm like that. I would plan to do stuff when I come home from work, and I'd sometimes work 6 to 12, and then I'm like knackered.
It's
Same
brain
thing.
dead, like, yeah.
But if I have an hour at 7, between classes, the amount of stuff I can get done in that hour,
Yeah.
it's unreal. Also, that's a deadline. I've only got an hour to do it, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I set a timer on my computer constantly. I'll have the 45-minute timer just on cycle.
I need to do that more often, actually.
Oh, it works really well for me.
I know deadlines are great. Deadlines are what keep me going a lot of the time.
Yeah, like my least favorite thing is like, oh, when can you get this ready? When do you want it? Oh, anytime's grand. It's like you do realize if you say that to me, you'll be waiting like 6 weeks for it.
Yeah.
Oh, can we get it on Thursday? Yeah, grand.
Deadly. It'll be done at like 11:59 on Wednesday, but it'll be done.
Exactly. It'll be done. Be on the deadline, but I'll get it.
Yeah. That's exactly how I function. Um, I think that is pretty much everything I have to ask you. You did say I'm going to ask you this question anyway because I asked for everyone, but I know you said it earlier. You kind of preempted it. But what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I've ever been given.
Mm.
Don't stop believing. Fuck. Um, Best piece of advice I've ever been given.
Let's get to everyone. I'll have to sit and think for a bit.
Yeah.
You can pick more than one.
See, I have like there's not many pieces of advice that I've been given that I've taken on board. There's more so just life lessons that other people have taught me.
That could technically be advice.
I think the best life lesson that I've come away with after all of this is hmm, it sounds cliche and it sounds so ridiculous, but the whole don't give up and don't stop. You can slow down, you can take breaks, but don't stop. Because if you stop, it's 10 times more difficult to start going again.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant advice. That doesn't sound cliche at all. I think the fact that you said that, like, it's harder to start again, slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I see people all the time that, let's say, they'll start a marketing business or a social media business or a podcast or something, and they'll keep going and then they'll just stop and say, oh, I pick this up again in 6 months or so. And they never do. But if you just slow down, take a break, take a breather, like go from posting 4 podcasts a month to posting 2 a month to posting one a month. You've slowed down, but you're still going. If you leave it 4 months, you're probably not going to post another one.
Yeah. Do you think that's though because people think it's going to be a lot easier than it is?
Oh God, yeah. Like I guarantee that people think that what I do is easy. But what they don't see is me sitting on my computer for literally 14 hours straight, or going from one meeting to another meeting, or I've been at my computer since about 8 o'clock this morning. I've gotten more edits done and exported, uploaded, audio sorted, downloaded, uploaded, or audio exported, uploaded, downloaded, re-imported, then exported and uploaded again. And then I had a meeting with Shane for about an hour and a half, and now I'm here, and it's only 3 o'clock, and I still have where's my to-do list next to me? I still have one, two, three, four, 5 things, 6 things left on my to-do list today.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't stop. And even then, like later tonight, I'm just going to be thinking about work, thinking about what the edit's going to look like, thinking about what, yeah, like you don't turn off. Like if you're working in a shop or if you're working in a restaurant, even doing split shifts where you're split across 12 hours, you still have that couple hours break in the middle and you go home. Like you're not thinking about work, you're not thinking about this. If I'm doing essentially split shifts where I'm splitting between shooting and editing or meetings and editing or shooting and meetings or just meetings and more meetings, I go home from that or I have that 3 hours in between and I don't stop thinking about the work. It's life consuming.
Yeah.
There is no balance. if you want to push past and push through everything, there's no real work-life balance. Work is life. Like obsession will beat talent every day of the week.
No, that's really true. And I think a lot of, not even just media people, but self-employed people will say that as
Oh, they'll
well.
completely agree with me.
That's why so many people drop off. They're like, oh yeah, like I found now it's not, I don't think, maybe it's not as prevalent, but I found a lot as well, with PT industry, like people come in, they think they'll post a few ab photos and suddenly they'll have a load of clients and they make a load of money, and it's not that at all.
Oh God, no, not even slightly.
No, they don't even want to see your abs.
No, it's but like PT especially. My God, like there's so many people. The competition out there is so steep. It's not just throw up a couple of ads, get your books filled, and Bob's your uncle. Like life don't work like that.
No.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. But I think they are very similar, like kind of in the sense the media side of stuff and like PT and stuff like that. It's that thing where you get a lot of people who just come in thinking, oh yeah, I can manage a
Oh,
social media thing because I like posting selfies. And you're like, that's not what that
oh
works.
my God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a good few people that I know that they've decided to start social media agencies and they're advertising themselves as if they're a marketer, and it's just no, and then that brand just doesn't exist in a year's time.
Yeah. It's for anyone who is thinking of doing anything like this, there's a hell of a lot of work, as
Well,
James
there's
has
a
just
hell of a lot of
explained.
work, and like it's doable, but just
Oh
be
yeah.
prepared for the work.
Oh yeah.
Be
Because like
prepared for sleepless nights, early mornings, late nights, stress, a lot of stress.
planning, processing, making new plans because the other plan didn't work.
Yeah, and the rest of the stress. And guess
The
what?
rest is
That's not even all of the stress.
oh no. No,
That's
seriously,
just the
we probably
stress of
love
the
what we're doing.
business. Oh, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't change what I would rather be 600 times more stressed about my own stuff rather than a little bit stressed about someone else's stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, solid advice right there.
Yeah, there we go. We went off on a little tangent there.
That's all right. I'll
It's
always go off
okay.
on a tangent with you, Chrissy.
So, James, before you go, will you let everybody know where they can find you?
Oh God. Yeah, you can find me on my Instagrams at Evil Charmander, like the Pokemon, and at jamesmaher.media, which is also my new website, jamesmaher.media.
Brilliant. And as ever, guys, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok. So it's at strong in the saddle _ on Instagram. TikTok is at strong in the saddle without the underscore. And then I'm www.chrissyhawkins.com. So just want to say thanks again for joining us, James.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.